for the people who may not know you yet, could you please introduce yourself, who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Josh Nelson. I am the Director of Education for Discoverhealing. I work with Dr. Bradley Nelson, the creator of the Emotion Code and the Body Code. And then together we have recently created the Belief Code, which we launched just a few months ago. So yeah, that's kind of my job title. Overall, I love to help people, love to help them get better. I work with people, I have a clientele, I have a practice, I do these methods with them. And then of course I work with the company of Discoverhealing and helping them to create their educational material and help train people and teach them how to use the method. Yeah, so I've always had a desire to help people. That's taken some different forms. Earlier on, my passion was in nutrition. So I went to school, I got a degree in nutritional biochemistry, nutritional science. I also worked as a fitness trainer and personal coach for many years as well. And I still do that a little bit on the side. So I love the fitness and nutrition side, and I was able to help a lot of people that way. And then slowly over time, I decided I think I was going to increase and further my education. And so I was going to school, and I was actually planning to become a medical doctor. And I reached out to Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's my first cousin once removed. I refer to him as Uncle Brad. And I reached out to him and said, hey, what do you think? What would you do if you were in my situation? And the body code had just come out, version 1. This was about 2009. And I had a copy that he'd given that to me. So I looked at that, I reviewed it, gobbled it up essentially. And he's like, hey, I think this might be a better path for you. And so that was really the beginning of this journey together. So I came on board. I helped in the early years to create the first levels of certification that we had, the online courses, and of course, keep helping with reworking those and developing those. But yeah, overall, I've just kind of always had a passion about helping people in the healing arts and really the alternative side. And that was the biggest thing when I was deciding to go to med school was I didn't want to do surgery. My clinical rotations in nutrition, I didn't even like to watch the IVs and stuff, you know. And I also knew I didn't want to prescribe drugs. My background was more nutrition. And so that was kind of the deciding factor. It's like, okay, I think I need to go into the alternative side. That's more my passion. That's my hobby. And so that's what led me to this journey. And this is where I'm at now.
Wonderful. So this video we're making is especially for the people who want to know about the Belief Code, because Belief Code was launched last November officially, and it's pretty new. So we want to know about the Belief Code in details, but probably people are confused. What's the differences between emotion code, body code, and a belief code? So can you explain on that, please?
There's the 3 methods. They've come out kind of sequential. When Dr. Brad sold his practice and decided that that was not the only way to help people, he wrote the book, The Emotion Code. And the Emotion Code focuses just on emotional baggage. And it's very, very effective, but it's not everything. And so later down the progression, he came out with the body code, which is kind of the 6 types of imbalances. And the body code really becomes the home base for everything else. And so the emotion code is part of the body code. And we did that for many years. And then we always knew that beliefs and belief systems were an important piece of the puzzle. And we worked with the former T3 therapy method, but it was inefficient and wasn't ideal in fitting with what we like to do. And so over the years, we knew that we were going to eventually do something different. And so over the last few years, we've been focusing on the belief code, which is predominantly focusing on our beliefs and our belief systems. That's single beliefs that we have, belief systems where there's layered of beliefs that are associated or connected with each other. And so we launched that last November, so it's a few months ago, and it's been surprisingly more effective and more exciting than we thought. Now, we were very excited about it, but it's been an amazing thing that's come out. And the way it came together, all the different pieces and how we formed it was really quite a unique journey, how it all came about, because we had different versions of it essentially for many months and years that we would kind of twist and tweak and adjust things. But the way we have it now, we feel it's a very, very effective tool to help people. And again, it's diving into the deeper portion of the subconscious mind where our belief systems are held, and our belief systems really create our reality. And sometimes they create our physical symptoms. And so you're going out a deeper level than we typically go to with the emotion code and the body code, and addressing things that are really at the root or the foundation of many of their symptoms. And so many of our practitioners have recognized for many years that they needed something a little bit more. I think this is filling that void finally.
So what is the subconscious mind? Because we're working with the belief, and then which is connected to our subconscious mind. But what is it, and why so is it so important to work on that part of us?
We talk about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is the part that we are consciously aware of. It's our reasoning, our thought process, and it accounts for a very small portion of our overall mind. And now the deeper portion, you have the subconscious. And in the belief code, we go a few steps deeper, but overall talking about the subconscious mind, that's where the majority of our life is essentially a big database. It's everything that's ever happened to us, every sickness we've ever had, every face we've ever seen, every experience we've ever had, our favorites and our non-favorites, our traumas, our past, everything is stored in there. You can think of it like the internet. It's just a big personal database and internet. And so accessing the subconscious mind, where all these programs and beliefs are held, is really the key to really making some changes in a person and their health. If they have blocks to achieving their desires, their goals, their abundance, whatever it may be, a lot of those blocks are all held in the subconscious mind, again, because that database, and it creates our reality. And so we are unaware of most of those programs and beliefs that are in our subconscious because they are subconscious. And so accessing that part is really, really important in allowing us to make a change. And it's a missing, as I said before, it's really the missing piece with what we didn't have quite all the way with the emotion code and the body code.
So to cleanse or clear up the energy, we used magnet, right? And then quite a lot of times I was asked, how does it work?
So we started the process with using a magnet to release the information. And again, if the subconscious mind is a database and there's information there, there's ways to access that information. There's a way to change that information. And we found initially using a magnet along the governing meridian, which is a way of kind of accessing and changing that information. Very much like a credit card has the magnetic strip on it that contains a certain amount of information that leads to your bank account, that kind of stuff, and it can be deleted with a powerful magnet. We found that information could be changed with using a magnet. The method has evolved since then, and we just recommend the magnetic field of just your hand. You don't have to use a powerful magnet. Sometimes I keep like a refrigerator magnet close by that has the emotion code chart on it. For the most part, you can just use your hand. And really what it is you're changing the frequency of that information. And maybe it relates to how wave mechanics works with constructive and deconstructive interference patterns. You're canceling out information, you're changing it. So that's essentially what's happening, but really important part of that is using your intention to access the certain frequencies, the certain bandwidths, the vibrations that we need to access to make change. There are lots of different methods, and for the most part, they all are fairly effective. We set ourselves apart by just being simpler, is what I would say. We have a really strong vision and foundation and a value based on elegance, which is simplicity and being unusually succinct and short and effective and profound and powerful. And that's probably what sets us apart. And it's an interesting aspect where we think that healing can be simpler than what most people think, especially when you get into the subconscious mind. Other methods and things will suggest that it's more complicated than it needs to be. And we have found that if we set our focus and our vision on simplicity, and we design the method around that, we can create a method that is very, very profound, but that anyone can do.
So is there or any interesting or inspiring like stories after you've done so many sessions with your client you can share with people?
So yeah, I have used a version of the belief code like this for about a decade. Okay. We didn't have the mapping system and that we used more of an intuition base. But the way it works now, it's more profound, and you can do it with intuition, But the way it's set up now is you can kind of set that aside and set aside your bias a little bit more and be in a neutral position to really allow the frequency align and match the belief statements that a person has. And I've worked with lots of different people on lots of profound things. When we first created the method and we had a live certification event, the very first one, it was a pre-launch event. In fact, it was back in October. And as we were doing that, we were working with people on stage and we were recording it and demonstrating the method. And something profound happened. We had a person that came up on stage and we were working with them. And throughout the process of working on them, I was working on this person, we found a typo. One of the statements came up and there was a typo in the statement. And the statement was lose, L-O-S-E, but it was spelled loose, L-O-O-S-E. And I apologize. And I'm so sorry. We found a typo. We're pre-launch. I'll make a note. We'll make that change. But as the belief systems, as we uncovered each statement, what was really profound was that the concept, the statement that had both lose and loose, both were part of the whole context of the belief system. And it was something that gave me goosebumps at the moment. I mean, I just couldn't believe it, that here was a mistake, but the subconscious was able to see this statement with a mistake and find that it had meaning more than just what I would have corrected it to be. And so it was really profound. And it showed me that, oh my gosh, this really works, because I couldn't have set this up any other way. Here's a mistake that actually played into the context of what we were working with. So we're seeing lots of profound things happen with this. Again, you're working on a deeper level, you're making changes, and it's not always immediate. Sometimes we get immediate changes, but these are subtle shifts and changes in the background. And so I think as we move forward, we'll see more and more significant changes as we've changed the direction that they've been going in their life. At first, it's a subtle shift, like the train tracks that are moved just a little bit. A year down the road, they're going to be in a completely different place. And I think that's when we'll really start to see testimonials and the changes that are going to come from this.
People sometimes say, how many times I should have a session? What you say?
Yeah, the number of sessions a person needs really depends on that person and their past and what stage or stage of the journey of healing that they're in. I have people that are at the beginning of that journey and they require more sessions. I'm going to dig into a little more, give them time in between to adjust or process, as we call it. I have people that are at the end of the journey, and sometimes it's 1 or 2 sessions and it's really completing things. And then so it really depends on the person. As a practitioner, we just recommend that we're there for that person. We're here, give this some time, let it process, let it adjust, see what's right, see what changed, what didn't change, and then we'll go to the next step. Because sometimes it is a layered effect. There are things that have to take time to process, adjust, and to learn. And so we just give time in between each session. So it's hard to give a hard rule of it's going to take 3, 4, 10 sessions, because every person is so different. I've had clients that are, again, short, a few sessions. I've had clients that we've probably done, 60, 80, maybe 100. I've had clients that have been clients for years as we've worked through the journey with them. And so it just depends on the person. Just be willing to meet the person where they're at. And if you're the client side, just you can't rush it. You have to just go with it, but be open and be willing to learn. And that will help to speed up the process.
So how people can find the practitioners close to their location?
Yeah, so we have a practitioner map on our website, discoverhealing.com. And that's where we recommend you go. Now, you can use a practitioner that's in your local area, or you can use a practitioner that's anywhere in the world. You can filter by language or country. And we're vastly growing that number of practitioners. Not all of our practitioners are listed on there, but we have, on the emotion code side, we're at 12, 13,000 practitioners, somewhere in there, in 60 to 70 different countries and languages. And it's growing very, very rapidly. So if you're looking for a practitioner, I'd recommend going on to the Practitioner Map at discoverhealing.com, and you can search there and find someone. And all of those are certified practitioners and ones that will vouch for and say that these people know what they're doing.
So you mentioned that you can find a practitioner anywhere. That means that we can do a session online.
That's right. So our sessions and the way our method works does not have to be just in person. Sessions can be formed in person, but the majority of the sessions we do are remote, or what we'll call proxy sessions. That's my entire practice has been that way. I don't work with people in person. I have an office here in my house, and I work with people over the phone. all over the world, in all the different countries and things. I've had people on the phone that didn't speak English, and I've had translators on the phone as I was working with different people. But the work can be done remotely, which is really fascinating and a fun principle, really. And it's just as effective at a distance as it is in person. And so, yes, you can find a practitioner, find someone that you seem to resonate with, and give it a try.
Have you ever done the session on yourself?
Yes, I've done many sessions on myself. It is definitely a journey. Lots of experiments on myself. Yeah, it's a great method. You can work on yourself. And it's, I would say it's more effective working with someone else. The reason for that is you can do a lot of the work yourself, but there are blind spots that we all have. There are places that we don't want to go, that if we have someone else and we allow them just to be in a neutral state and let them work, they can find things. And it's typically that little bit, those pieces that are our blind spots, are where the most profound changes will happen. So we really recommend that you work with someone. Definitely do the work on yourself. Use a practitioner, because it really can help speed up that healing journey, really help you. You know, as healers, we have certain personality traits and types and characteristics. And one of that is we are quick to give, but slow to receive. It's been something I've watched as a pattern. And so it is important, again, to have that other practitioner and let them work on you. Yes, you could probably figure it out yourself, and it might take a little bit longer or whatever, but get in a state where you allow someone else and receive the work, you know, and it really does help to accelerate the healing journey. So we have the three different methods, and there are three different layers. We teach them in our certification course. Level 1 is the emotion code. Level 2 is the body code. Level 3 is the belief code. And I've penciled out a level 4. And this is something I've penciled out many years ago. And it will go into a little bit more just below the belief systems. Belief systems are a deeper layer, but there are a few things that go a little bit deeper, and they're a little bit trickier. And so that's why we have them in layers, and they're sequential. You have to kind of master the emotion code, get some muscle testing, understand that process, and move into the body code, where you have more options, different types of imbalances. In the belief code, you're going to go a little bit deeper. And then level 4, we'll talk a bit more about the identity, which we brought in on the belief code, where we have a faulty core identity statement, where a belief system is attaching itself essentially to your identity. And the identity has your values, other beliefs that are there, lots of other different aspects that we'll be teaching you how to dive into that deeper portion there. Yeah, very, very good question. Well, one thing I recognize and I've learned about myself is that I am constantly changing. I'm a very dynamic being, and I look at the different chapters of my life. I've changed significant, from belief systems to the way I do things. Right now, in this stage, the life for me, I get a lot of satisfaction working with people, helping them to heal. I get a lot of satisfaction from teaching these methods, empowering other people to then go out and help other people. Currently, I'm living the life of my dreams, in that I am able to feed my passion in helping other people. And that's really what it is. And what we teach people is if you have a desire to help other people, then you can do this work. That is really the only prerequisite. So if you have the desire, okay, awesome. This is something that you can use. And so, yeah, I'm living the life that I'm quite satisfied with. This method and understanding is evolving. And so we're excited to be part of that process, of that evolution. And we foresee in the future where the method is even more effective than it is now. It's also more accepted worldwide. It is already changing quite drastically, the way people are being open to alternative and the energy healing side of things. And so we are excited about that. And I am too. I think I see those next chapters of my life. That will be those stages, and that will be the life for me then, when we're adapting and we're learning more and we're making changes and we're making the method more effective.
Let's do great work. Healing
Let's
people. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.